1 in 5 young voters prefer TikTok and Instagram for their election news, a poll has revealed. We're going to read into this exclusive from The Independent, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with an exclusive from The Independent with the headline of 1 in 5 young voters prefer TikTok and Instagram for their election news, a poll reveals. The poll for The Independent shows that some voters are turning to TikTok and Instagram for their election news fix. Guys, while you're here, make sure you hit the like button and share it across social media so others are notified of this video. Yes, and I don't think that anyone should be surprised by this, and I think this is where Nigel Farage could tap into potential younger voters. Even though many people vehemently dislike him or disagree with him, there is some younger voters who, unfortunately, won't fall to the caveat of what Nigel Farage is saying. And he is someone who's been using a lot of social media and using TikTok. And perhaps also, recently, Suella Braverman joined TikTok doing a ridiculous dance. But, regardless of what you might think of how ridiculous that little video she'd done, it still means there's obviously that people are gonna notice her and talk about her. And some young voters who may see these political videos or these campaigners may not entirely know who, for example, like who's Suella Braverman. Oh, she seems like a funny, she seems like a okay kind of conservative. And then you realise, and then if you actually, unless people actually go and do the digging, you're not always going to know somebody in particular unless they go out of their way to read. But you also have to remember that the likes of TikTok and Instagram, when you're using those platforms, a lot of people who use them don't always have the best attention span when it comes to those videos. They'll simply just flick through, and if something appeals to them, they'll watch a bit longer. But some people don't watch anything, don't watch enough, or some just won't watch your video at all and just flick right past. And it varies. Everyone is different. But I do think that that younger voters are using this, which is why I think there needs to be more MPs, more politicians taking advantage of the social media, because if they want to connect more to younger voters, here on the internet is where they're going to connect a lot better than behind a TV screen. I think most of them know that. I just think some of their social media campaigns, some of the promotional videos are can be a bit pants sometimes, but yeah, need to take advantage of this. Remember, younger people, if you look after them, if you treat them good, they can end up being voters for the rest of their lives for your party. So people shouldn't forget that. So as the country gears up for a general election in less than 2 weeks, young voters are relying less and less on traditional media to consume their news. A substantial 21% of 18 to 34-year-olds said that TikTok and Instagram are their main source of information for the general election campaign. An exclusive techie poll for The Independent can reveal. Now, I also want to put this caveat before we go any further. Any polls that you read or hear, always take them with a pinch of salt, no matter how good they are. So I'll just say take it with a tiny pinch of salt, but also don't be surprised if some of this is pretty accurate as well. Perhaps most surprising is that Twitter and Facebook are the least preferred source for younger voters at just 4%. Yeah, there's a reason why there was one point I was putting a lot of my short videos on Twitter. They were getting no traction, none at all. So I stopped doing it. But on Instagram and TikTok, they definitely getting traction. While all platforms can share both images and video content, Instagram and TikTok have more of a skew towards visual content, while Twitter and Facebook are more central around text-based content. Yeah, people like to see the visual. They like to see an image rather than just words as well. So where do young voters get their election news? So this is what they've got. 21% of 18 to 13-year-olds use Instagram and TikTok as their main source of information for the general election campaign. So the dark red there, that's Instagram and TikTok. 8% of personal views on family and friends. And there's 4% of Facebook and Twitter. Traditional news outlet is still 41%, so most is family there. And 25% saying not interested in politics, no preferred media. Yeah, so there's obviously, that's not surprising. A lot of young voters obviously have said that. We should not be surprised by this, considering how dejected some of them are. But it's interesting that Instagram and TikTok is quite more considered more viable And like I said, like it says in there, and I agree. I don't personally scroll TikTok or Instagram. Me personally, I sometimes scroll Instagram a little bit, but I use the platforms to promote my content. Both platforms to promote my content. And I guess more of imagery is a more reactionary thing rather than just words. But some people it may be even the opposite. All age groups under 54 years old are more likely to turn to Instagram and TikTok for election coverage than to Twitter and Facebook, the poll also suggests. On the opposite end of the spectrum, 55 to 64-year-olds are the most likely of all age groups to get their information from Facebook and Twitter at 14%. Techie UK Chief Executive Michela Moresco said that the parties must take into account voters' information preferences on their campaign strategies. Only approximately half of the upcoming general election voters rely on traditional media sources, so we can see only in the last 5 years or so from the election in 2019 significant changes in how voters think about the political parties and where they compare their proposals. This very much affects the campaign strategy and tools that candidates should use. It is key to correctly match the target audience with the right tools. Otherwise, the strategy is completely useless. And though there has been much flurry around politicians dipping their toes into TikTok, Facebook and Twitter, have been largely the primary outlet of investments for major parties, social media campaigns. So if the parties were aiming to catch Gen Z voters in the net, this may not have the impact that they were hoping. So this is traditional. It's because of the adverts from the Independent, so I do apologise if it jumps. This is traditional media still a top source for election news. Half of all voters use traditional news outlets as their primary source during their elections, but there is significant variation among age groups in the social media uses. Yeah, so actually, my actual preferred age group of people who watch my content is actually older. Although I do have a significant young age group looking on TikTok. It is still more older viewers on TikTok than it is younger viewers. But I do have a viewing there. I don't have as much younger audience members watching here on YouTube. It's more older ones preferably, according to my analysis on when it comes to my platforming. But just here, obviously, so traditional news outlets majority say most age groups are in favour of it. Then Instagram and TikTok, 64 above 1%, 55, 64, 70%, and it's 21%, 18 and 34s there. Personal views from family and friends, quite low there. Twitter and Facebook, very low there again. And the not interest, and 21%, I think that, not sure what one, 21% there, 40% there of not interested in politics, no preferred media. This was an answer to the question of what is their main source of the general election campaign techie poll of 1,624 Great British adults. Field work carried out. This work was carried out on the 19th of 20th of June, just for those who want to know. Recent analysis by Who Targets Me found that Labour have spent over 2.4 million on social media advertising via Meta, Facebook and Google during this campaign. Sam Jeffers, Chief Executive Director of Who Target Me, explains that social media platforms are crucial for engaging with voters, whether it's via ads, news, or more light-hearted content. The campaigns will be hoping to reach younger voters with fun, viral videos on TikTok, but also trying to find them with ads on Instagram, YouTube, and elsewhere. You have to have a look at all together as part of a broader, more complicated media diet. In the end, it always adds up to social media platforms being incredibly important in how voters, particularly younger ones, get their politics. He added, TikTok doesn't allow paid political ads, so the party can't run their target campaigns there. But social media users tend not to spend their time on just one platform. Even if people happen to use TikTok a lot, they'll still hop around on other servers looking for interesting and entertaining stuff. For most part, traditional news outlets remain the preferred source of election coverage. For half, 48% of all voters remain broadly similar across all age groups. Around 1 in 10 of all voters rely on the personal views of family and friends to guide them during the run-up to the general election. Young voters are least likely to turn to family and friends as a primary source of election information, while over 55s are most likely 44%. I have had actually quite a few people who are subscribers or viewers of mine who have said that they have disputes with their families, or they don't talk to their families with regards to politics because they have a various different views in comparison to themselves. The younger voters that I do have on here on my channel. But I would say there is also it depends as well, because everyone is different. But it is some interesting numbers to say the least. But I do agree that the likes of Instagram and TikTok, I'm not sure. I do use Facebook because I have a Facebook page and links in the description if you want to check it out. Well, I do put my shorts on there as well. And although I don't get as many views, obviously, as I do with Instagram and TikTok, I still get some views. So I wouldn't say it's completely null and void, but it depends to every single person. But it is some fascinating numbers to say the least, if these numbers were 100% accurate. But what do you guys think? What do you guys make of 1 in 5 voters preferring TikTok and Instagram for their election news? Do you think that's surprising? Do you think maybe it's a bit exaggerated? What are your honest thoughts about social media and the impact that it's having on this election? And maybe yourselves who are watching this, do some of you watch election news outside of YouTube? Do you use social media platforms? What platforms do you use? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And if you find this video interesting or informative, please hit the like button. We greatly appreciate it. Share it across social media so others are notified of this video. And subscribe, because it really does help support the channel. And if you want to go one step further, financially support me and the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p. Or you can join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms as well. Yes, I do exclusive content on those platforms too. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope to catch you all very, very soon.